All right.
Woo!
Hey, everybody. Woo! It's like all of a sudden I've turned into Ric Flair, dude. After so much Mio, it's like, woo! Anyway.
Nobody thought that was funny.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. I'll edit it out. It's okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to This Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. I am an RSPS, and we are a show on multiple pathways to recovery and some mental health. We touch on that as well. But anyway, Chadwick.
Yeah.
That was a hot song on that intro.
Yeah, man. I wrote it, so it ought to be good. So
right, and I took your 6 and made it a 9.
He did. He took the 9 and made it a 9.1.
I polished your turd.
Yes, for sure. No, it was cool.
Anyway,
it was cool. He did a lot of stuff to it, and it sounds great now.
Cool.
So
anyway, dude,
I'll give credit to you.
Thanks for coming out. Dude.
You're welcome.
I'm excited. Hey, dude, you are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. Dude.
I just want to know how grateful you really are.
I want you to know that you, at the end of the day, are welcome.
Hey, man, when you're about to get in the shower and you take that diaper off, and then after that shower, when you lay your head down,
are you making fun
on
of
that
me?
little pillow?
Because
I'll tell you what, man. I know exactly how welcome you truly are.
Well, I
me.
am for
me
for changing
for
my
me.
diapers.
Yeah,
Chad,
for me.
Yes.
Well,
for my incontinence.
Hanging out with you does require a lot. So,
oh my god.
But you're welcome.
Hey, and you're welcome.
If there's any point I want the viewers to know
that
before this
welcome.
show starts is that the only one who's truly like the most of welcome. It's probably this guy Kelly right next to me. For me.
And dude, I mean, it's back at you. It's reciprocated 100%.
No, I understand.
You're
welcome. Your gratitude for me, but I want you to know how welcome you really
Anyway, this could go
Chance
on
is
all
like,
day.
what the fuck is this?
I love it. Anyway, you heard that voice. It is the voice of reason. And
that's high praise.
And no, I love this guy,
yeah,
dude. He's a good dude, and he actually, I know you actually sponsor a ton of people. You have a full docket as far as sponsoring, and then also working for Brazos Recovery. I like to refer to him as the People's Champ. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh George.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Well, why don't you tell us about what you do and also about your sober living?
Cool. Yeah, I work for Brazos Recovery, which is a full continuum of care for men.
Shout out Brazos.
Yeah, dude. Awesome place.
They do awesome work.
Okay.
It's anyways, I'm on like the outreach side, so people trying to get to us sometimes, or a lot of times, I'm the first point of contact.
Okay.
Setting all that up and making sure that we're the right spot.
Right.
Helping them get other places if it needs to happen.
And then you also have Cardinal House.
Cardinal House. Yep.
Right.
It's a sober living. Dallas, Frisco, Richardson. Really heavy 12-step. All dudes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll look it up. Look it up. Definitely. Hey, but excited to have this guy on, the man of the hour. It is Chance Alexander, a.k.a. Chancellor. Correct?
Yeah.
A man in recovery.
But there's only one L in the Chancellor, so I took,
cool.
that part out.
I like that.
Because you have to have, if you're sitting there with a guy named Chadwick and your name's Chancellor, you know what I mean? To compete, like in theory and, well, in practice, you would actually have to have 2 L's for me to post it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Dude,
I don't know what language that was.
Okay, Chadwick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chadwick, dude.
Yeah, hey, Chadwick.
Dude, and it's funny because my middle name is Alexander, dude.
Pipe down, Chadwick.
So we have a lot more in common than Chance even realizes. Dude.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, but
We're in
anyway, I know you
coolest
do
name
a
in the room.
lot of speaking in public, and you are an advocate for the rooms, for the 12 steps. You're a big fan of that. So why don't you tell us your backstory and then bring your message of hope?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. I love what you guys have going on, the platform that you've built, and just being in here, able to hear and feel the energy.
Hey,
it's electric.
You're welcome.
Oh, no. Dude.
Sorry. No. I had to. You set it up.
I appreciate it. Yeah, y'all asked me, what I do, and
right.
I thought about that for a second. You're going to think this is cheesy, Chad, so just don't listen.
Yeah, so just shut up already.
I'm a light in the world of darkness, offering hope and help to anybody that I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told Chad the other day that we're all most uniquely qualified to help the people that we used to be. And I know what it feels like to be struggling with substance abuse, depression, and shame.
Mm-hmm.
That was my life for so long. And so having been able to get to the other side, I am just passionate about helping guys get out of that place.
Okay.
And I think that we can all understand that. You know, I know
We
a little
can
bit
all,
about.
it is a very relatable thing, especially in this room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I just love what y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. For
I just
sure.
don't want people to feel like I did. You know what I mean? Like because like I said earlier, the chances are if somebody feels like I did, they're dead.
Right. Yeah.
They
and I
will
know
be soon.
or they will be soon.
Right.
You know? And if I can fucking do it, I guarantee you, dude, like I can go pick somebody off behind a dumpster, dude, and they can fucking do it. Because I've been that person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I know you can relate to that.
Well, you were definitely one of those guys that like that you would say take bets on and go, I don't know if he's gonna ever make it. Yeah.
Everybody bet against. I bet
Yeah.
against me, dude.
Right.
Even
yeah.
sober.
Yeah, even sober, I'd fucking bet against
There's
me, bro.
still bets on him.
Right.
Yeah, hell yeah,
right. Right.
What was the
Sure.
What was the bet when I told my story? It's like, how many times is he gonna say fuck?
Yeah. I lost that one.
He did.
Yeah.
All right.
What was the over under? It was like 89 times or something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be 69 times.
I mean,
Oh,
dude,
wow.
Yeah.
69,
Right.
420. What's up?
Premeditated. dude.
Right. There you go.
But anyways,
Yeah. So.
Chance, you, I heard your message when I first got, out of treatment and stuff, and we linked up after that, and you've got a lot of different things that are like really, I don't know, it's just the way that you word things. You have a passion in the way that you speak, and you have, I mean, you're kind of handsome, dude. So, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to listen to you, but your voice too, like it carries.
Chadwick, ladies
Bro,
and
I
gentlemen.
mean, like, look at that side of the look at that side of the room versus this side of the room.
yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what
little
I
rough.
mean?
It's a little rough over
We got
here.
fucking
dude.
jackass,
It's
and
a
then
little
fucking
rough.
like pretty guys over there.
No,
dude.
it's the husky side of the
Husky
table.
boys versus fits. But yeah,
we're like the before picture, dude.
Oh wow.
but yeah, like I don't know. You have a message that's way different than like what we normally have on here.
And Chad has an 8x10 of you on the wall at his
And
house.
he's-
Just so you know.
It's only an 8x10.
Yeah. he actually custom had a pillowcase made of your face,
Yeah.
but it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad and I, we've become really good friends. We hang out quite a bit. It's
Right.
Chadwick and Chancelor, and
There we
we'll
go.
get on the spades table and stay there all night.
Dude, people, and it's right after we're at a thing with people, and then they hear us talk, and they're like, "Oh my god, are these guys about to fucking kill each other?"
All right.
Because that's what, like, I mean, that's half the game, dude. If you can't talk shit, man, then you don't know how to play spades.
That's what it is.
There we go. So anyway, I'm excited to hear the eloquence of your story as per Chad. So let's hear it.
Yeah, I
dude.
talked you up quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, where do you want me to start?
Well, I mean, start where little backstory.
Beginning
And
of
then-
hopelessness. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
All right, let me go back to when I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
So I always considered myself to be a happy kid. Funny, I would make people laugh no matter what it took, often at the expense of other people.
That sounds like Chad.
Just like
Right.
Chad. Yeah, I was a little funnier though. But anyway, 3 things happened at that age. I had my first girlfriend, and I was crazy over her.
Yeah.
I got my first job and learned that I could make money. And I tried alcohol for the first time.
At
And
12.
At 12.
Wow. Okay.
Those 3
What
things.
job did you get at 12?
I was a referee, a soccer referee.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've always considered myself a lucky person. Things just kind of happen, and it leads me somewhere that better than where I was. And early on in my career as a soccer referee, I was reffing a game of like 7-year-olds, and a kid fell and just snapped his arm right there on the field.
Right.
And all I did was yell, "Call 911." And that ended up leading me to get promotion and all sorts of recognition. And so pretty soon I'm
dude.
moving
Yeah.
up and advancing in that career, if you want to call it that. But anyway, that girl, she ended up breaking up with me, and I took
Okay.
it really hard.
Sure.
A lot harder than I would have thought, or that I think a lot of people do. And I didn't realize this until working the steps and going back and then looking. And I made a promise to myself at that age of 12 that I was never going to let anybody hurt me that way.
That's the
again.
start of the wall, dude.
That was the wall. I started
get
building
it.
that
Oh,
brick
I get
wall.
it. Yeah, I've been there for sure.
Absolutely. And pretty shortly after was when I tried alcohol for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the way it made me feel. I absolutely fell in love with escaping and the way that it made me feel to drink and just have fun and not worry about anything. And that kind of just, when you're building a wall and you're
It's a good mortar.
and you're partying,
Right.
yeah, I mean, they
Yeah.
go hand in hand.
Sure.
And so it just changed a lot about me at that age. Changed the way that I viewed women. And I started hanging out with the people that were partying all the time. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun for a little while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, when I was 16, I'd say things really took a turn.
Uh-huh.
I lost 2 friends to suicide within a 10-month period.
Okay.
And prior to that, it was all about having fun. I was just drinking and smoking pot, and that was just the thing to do. And
Right. Now, would you say like that the suicides were a result of, you know, maybe substance use or was it just the
Depression, mental health
depression?
stuff.
Yeah.
one of them I never knew, and I'll probably never know why.
Right.
There was no signs. He wasn't into substances. He wasn't partying. The other
Right.
one, possibly.
Okay.
I don't know what their story was. It happened so abruptly. But I know that for me, it was no longer all about having fun.
Right.
I was now using the drugs and the alcohol to escape,
Okay.
to numb, and to self-medicate.
Right. So you had basically it had become a cycle or cyclical for you where it wasn't I'm voluntarily doing this. It's like I need this.
I didn't realize it at the time, but yes.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought that I had control over it.
Well, how old of a guy are you now?
I'm 27.
Okay, so yeah, this is recent history.
If you-
Fairly
speak.
recent, yeah.
Yeah,
if you want to say that about
Yeah.
11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, hey, dude, once you start
Yeah,
getting up to
recent
my age,
history when you're
yeah.
fucking 92
Yeah,
over
when-
here, dude.
when
Well, that happened in 1904. I remember that like it
92,
was
yeah,
yesterday.
I was here. I was there for the signing of the Magna Carta. Yes, I was there for the the Gettysburg Address as well. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, man.
okay.
I'm pretty sure he had a hand. He had a hand.
I
in
wrote.
the pyramids.
I
dude.
actually wrote.
Jeez.
I actually wrote the line "fourscore."
Oh
yeah,
my
that
and
was
that
me.
was yeah.
That was
well,
me.
he wrote it as a prediction for me because he knew I would be scoring dope
That
later
was-
in my life.
Boy, that was horrible, dude. I will go out of my way to edit that out, or actually, what I'll do is I'll edit and put it in twice.
Yeah.
because that was so
We
horrible,
can
dude.
sit through
It was
that
so bad, it was
twice.
almost good.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was almost. Thank you, Chance, dude. Hell yeah!
Chance-
I paid him
Chance has got your
$20
back.
to say that.
So I'm a firm believer that no matter what somebody's dealing with in their life, whether it's substance abuse, depression, anxiety, there's so many different things that are plaguing people. And I truly believe that it's a spiritual issue, that at the core of it,
Right.
there's something missing.
What do they say
spiritually.
in the big book about that? It's a spiritually sick or spiritual malady.
That's what Chance calls me all the time.
Yeah.
Spiritually
Yeah, he tells
sick.
everybody I'm spiritually sick.
Yeah,
Right.
They ask how he's
I
doing.
get
I
it.
say physically he's doing well.
Right.
Spiritually, man, that guy's sick.
What is it? What is it? Great guy, horrible disease. Right?
That's the line.
Great guy, horrible disease.
Yeah, talk about how do I maintain sobriety? I just hang out with him long enough.
Right.
It reminds me what could happen if I go back
Yeah,
out.
there you go, for sure. I see now it's gang up on Chad.
Hell
Josh,
yeah,
get
dude.
in on this.
Dude, I'm not a
Right?
shit talker. Really, dude. Too sensitive to join in.
Right.
Dude, he gives it so often that you're gonna have to.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you'll just cry yourself to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. I push. I'm a habitual boundary pusher. And then once you feel a certain way, guess what? I'm gonna be there to hold your hand and help you get over it. And then we're gonna laugh about that time when I made you feel that way. And then you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's
That sounds
The
like,
cycle
trying to
sounds like
help
all my
Chad.
toxic
The-
relationships.
Yeah, I know,
Hey.
dude. The cycle.
I
of
am a
Chad.
system of a down hit, dude.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, toxicity in my city.
Right.
But anyways,
So anyway, back to his story.
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
look back, I believe that God is a gentleman, and He will knock, but He's not going to come in until we invite Him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I was able to learn going through the steps, going through my past, was looking back and seeing all the times that He was there knocking, trying to get my attention. I was just so blinded that I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
It was always somebody else's fault.
Okay.
I didn't know what the word responsibility meant. And it's hindsight's 20/20. I think they say that for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say like, it's really crazy too because you had a job and all that stuff when you were young, and you just said you didn't know responsibility, so it was like a facade almost that you were working with.
Yeah, things always looked good from the outside. I will say that. Everybody.
You were a ref. You were calling 911, dude.
Hell
you had
yeah.
it all together.
Getting promoted.
That was the only
Right.
time I ever called
Right.
911.
Right.
Let's just make that clear.
Right.
Yeah, it always looked good from the outside. Everybody's rock bottom is different, and I think that's so important for people to know that there is no one size fits all. I think that when it comes to drug addiction or alcoholism, there is very much so a spectrum, and that you don't have to fit into one category.
He said spectrum, not rectum, Chad. Sorry.
Because from the outside, I could always paint a pretty good picture. And
you
that-
could present well.
Yes,
so to speak.
And that harmed me for a long time because.
Well, what were you? So as far as like SUD, your substance use disorder, I mean, what was your DOC, dude?
DOC,
Yeah.
interesting question. So I always just say more.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't go down that road all that often because I don't think that it's all that important.
Right.
But if I'm brutally honest with you, it would be marijuana.
Okay.
And I know that sounds lame.
No, I mean, we've had people on, like, I mean, that can definitely be an inhibitor. And, like, I mean, A, it makes you feel different. And then B, you don't get shit done, dude.
So I did a lot of drugs, right?
Right.
But the question DOC, I was told, think about there's every drug possible on this table. What would you go for? Or if you could have one for the rest of your life. And that's what it was.
Right.
And I look back from the time I started smoking pot around 15, I never drank alcohol without being under the influence of weed.
Yeah.
And I don't think it gets enough recognition to the harm that it can cause. It's a much slower decline. And it's so readily available. And
And it's it's almost legal now, and
will be.
it's the same thing, with alcohol, and what I've said before is it's the ultimate slow play. And that's a poker term, but it's just like you don't realize it's happening.
That was the poker term that was invented in the 1920s. I was there at the table when they signed the paperwork. Shut up, dude.
That's hilarious. Anyway. Hey, Chad. Good to see you, dude. When did you show up, dude?
Hey, brother. Good to see you, man.
Hey, brother.
But yeah.
But anyway, but I was going to say it's like the ultimate slow play. It's one of those inconspicuous packages. As Chad has just lost his shit for no apparent reason.
Dude, when I hear my wheeze from all the smoking in the microphone, it just makes me
want to go
harder.
have another cigarette.
Right,
Yeah, man,
exactly.
yeah.
But I get it, what you were saying about the weed, because it does come in a harmless package, and it's framed like, hey, man, it's no big deal. Which, for some people, sure, yeah, it is no big deal. For some people, alcohol's no big deal. But it can become a big deal, like the alcoholism. I didn't all of a sudden, I wasn't one of those people that started drinking and then just go, okay, let's just get as shitty as we can. It was a gradual thing, and then by 30 years later, literally, I'm oh fuck, I got to drink every day to right the ship in order to function.
Well, I think something else that's neat about that fact, and I got sober in rooms surrounded by people who didn't do heroin.
Right.
Yeah.
And my sponsor was not a heroin addict. And I've never been sponsored by another heroin addict. And so some friends and I are going to actually get some T-shirts made that says, "Shove your singleness of purpose up your ass."
Yeah.
And we're very excited to wear those often. But if
and
you
we'll
look,
be selling those on.
no,
I'm
I'm not
just
selling those,
Yeah.
dude. Those are free.
Right.
I give them to everybody who will wear it.
There you go.
Because what happens is, like, there's not even in any recovery literature that I know of, in any pathway, and I know one more than I know any of the others as well, right? And in that one specifically, in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they never talk about what a beer drunk is like versus a whiskey drunk or a wine drunk. Like, there's not any point in time that anybody actually points out that it matters what it's like to be high or drunk on a substance. They're only talking about a relationship with a substance.
Right.
And all of a sudden, a heroin addict and somebody who's weed addict, I don't know how you would term that, but like alcoholic,
Weedaholic.
we all get together on the same page because even in the literature, even though the space, right? I was fortunate that I had a sponsor who said, hey, it's not about excluding you because you sell plasma and overdose and you do all the chaotic junkie stuff. It's because when you get up behind a podium and there's a guy there who's twice your age and his wife's saying, I'm going to leave if you don't stop, and he listens to your story, then he feels like he doesn't belong there.
Uh-huh.
And until I can get what you're talking about, like, well, the chaos of that doesn't matter. My relationship with the substance matters. That's the qualifying characteristic that put me in the room in the first place. What happens while I'm on it makes very little difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree.
So I think that's huge.
I
Yeah.
agree. And
Yeah.
out of respect for individual programs and the singleness of purpose, I do share on those subjects, but I clarify that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell them whenever I'm going to talk about this, no matter what it is, whether it's alcohol, cocaine, narcotics, I tell them that that could be solid, liquid, or gas.
Mm-hmm.
That for me, whenever I say that I'm powerless,
Go ahead, Chad. Do
That's
your
sick.
fart noise.
No,
You're
dude, that's
queued
good.
up.
when I'm powerless,
Uh-huh.
what I'm really talking about is that my brain is trying to convince me that something outside of myself is going to fix the way that I feel inside.
Right.
It could be the drugs, it could be the alcohol, it could be sex, money, going somewhere, buying something,
Mm-hmm.
but it's outside of me. And like I said, I think it's a spiritual problem that the answer was always within.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, and I think it's cool also because I know, and I'm not going to name any groups, and I'm not, representing a fellowship, but like if you get to be a part of a group that's well enough to identify the newest person there, that the men there will walk up to him or the women there walk up to him and they say, hey, in case you heard anything that maybe caused some confusion or misunderstanding, let's exchange phone numbers and let's talk because recovery happens between these meetings anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
The meeting after the meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. But so I mean, on the, weed being the one thing that you couldn't do without. I mean, I think that there is definitely validity to that, and I have seen it before. Be their vice that was their downfall overall. I mean, even though there was more, drastic substances you could take or out there, it still was, basically their main, downfall and what kept them coming back, and they couldn't walk away from. So, but beyond that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Weed to me is just a distraction.
Yeah.
Just like all of them. But like I was talking about the bottoms, I was given the gift of desperation through a severe depression that I couldn't shake for years. I was first identified with depression at 17, and I didn't identify with that diagnosis at all. And it was so easy to find justification in the world and from other people. And eventually it got to the point where I didn't want to talk about it because, like I said, I painted such a pretty picture on the outside.
sure.
So if I started talking about, man, I'm sad and I don't feel good, people would say, what do you mean, man? You have this and this and this, and when you go out, you have fun and you're able to meet people, yada, yada. But on the inside, I was crumbling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so what did that feel like for you? What did that depression feel like when you say you're crumbling?
Man, it's hard really for me to look back. I've always had rose-colored glasses looking towards the past. And that was my problem then. Like, I always felt like yesterday or a month or a year ago was great, even though whenever I started talking to my friends and family, they're like, dude, you've been miserable for years. I could always looked back at a certain time in my life, that job or that group of friends, that season, and I thought, oh, man, that looks so fun. But right now, things suck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just constantly missing and romanticizing the past while I was miserable in the present.
Right.
And it was just this cycle. And so
Yeah, and you didn't really recognize that you were miserable in the past.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it was just these lies. And it was, I believe, the alcohol and the marijuana and any of the other substances, the party drugs, they were just allowing me to mask that in the present moment.
Right.
Yeah, and so one of the things that because I did the same shit, dude, with weed. It was like the first time I ever smoked weed, I was on a golf course and I couldn't feel my arms, and I was like, "This is the craziest shit. I want to do this until the day that I die.
You couldn't feel
I want to
your
go to college
arms
to legalize weed."
Okay, hold on.
I was on the golf course, dude. Smoked weed out of a Coke can. I went to go hit the ball. I could not feel my arms, and I started laughing, and it was the coolest
Okay.
thing ever.
All right.
But then,
I
and
have
I was like,
never
I'm only going to
known
do this on the weekends, whatever. And
weed to
then
have
that
that
took over
effect.
my entire life.
Okay.
That took over my entire life, my entire teenage years, up until like my mid-20s, dude. Like, and it wasn't just
Could
like
you
a little
not
bit
feel
of
your
weed.
arms every time you took?
No, just the first time. And
the first time,
it was
okay.
like my constant reminiscing of the times that were miserable, trying to create the same feeling, made me completely and entirely miss what was happening in the present and think that I was just miserable in the present when really it was just fucking. I wasn't here. I was there or I was there. And generally I was there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
But
still
this
laughing
being the
about-
past and this being the present. Kelly doesn't understand because he's a fucking idiot.
No, I'm just
But
I'm just
past
still
and
laughing.
present, right?
How
I was
somebody
completely missing here.
how somebody gets to the point where they go, okay, I can't feel my arms. I'm in, dude.
That's what it was.
That's
dude.
what we do. Though.
Okay.
Is that not what we do with any drug?
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's scary.
But I
it's
can't
weird,
feel
and I'm
my
like, I want
arms.
more.
I'm in.
Yeah. Anything to take me out of up here.
Right.
Anything to take me out of that current,
I get
whatever
that.
it might be,
Right.
dude. So yeah, I totally identify with you on the fucking weed thing because like it becomes everything. Just like anything to take me out of like the moment that I'm in where I don't have to think about me, right? And that's what it was for me.
That's
dude.
what's so beautiful about recovery and making it to the other side, being
Right.
rocketed into the fourth dimension. I am comfortable in my own skin. I can
Yeah.
be here in the present moment. I'm not out there worrying and thinking about what's going on outside of this room right here. Because if I'm thinking about the past, that's just my representation of that. That's not reality.
Right.
And if I'm thinking about the future, then I'm missing the one true thing that's right here, the gift of the present moment.
Right. Well, let's talk about a little bit more about your pathway as far as recovery. I mean, obviously, you know, this time it's been more of the rooms, but I mean, what was your journey like? I mean, as far as, you know, rehab facilities, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I always had this bar.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not talking about where I'd go to drink or that collection of liquor in my cabinet. I'm talking about this thing that I would judge myself and other people based off of. Like, I can't be that bad because I have never done this.
Right.
And I would look at somebody else and be like, oh, you might have a problem because
Right.
of this and that. And I did what any good alcoholic or drug addict would do, and I just lowered that bar
Right.
over and over. I remember telling myself,
It's like the old heroin addict. Oh, I'm
not
gonna
homeless yet.
No,
I got it.
I'm gonna snort it, but I'm not gonna shoot it. And then once you shoot it, well, I'm never gonna, you know,
Exactly.
use my neck vein, and then you know
it
that
just
kind of thing.
keeps
Yeah.
going. It
Yeah.
really does. And so for me, it was just this cycle, just this
Uh-huh.
downhill spiral of I've never been arrested. If I ever get arrested, then maybe I'll have
And
a
that's
problem.
that's my wake up call.
You know,
yeah,
then
right.
I get arrested. Well, that wasn't my fault. That
Yeah.
was wrong place, wrong
right.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, well, I've never overdosed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm waking up in the hospital. And, well, shit, you know, and I just keep lowering this bar.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point to where it was always going to be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I justified my use that I was just going to do it one more day. That tomorrow will be the day that I wake up and I finally have the willpower to stop, to put this stuff down. And it just made me justify it. So that means I'm going to do it all, right?
Right.
I'm going to do everything I have.
Sure.
Because it's the last day.
Right.
And that just went
Party
on.
like it's 1999.
It went on forever, you know. And I tell people I've paid for this seat, you know. And what I mean by that is pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. That's what paid means to
Okay.
me.
All right.
Because that's what it was for so long.
I have not heard that acronym.
Yeah, it's
Give
because
it
you
to
don't
me
read
again.
the book.
It's in the book, Bubba.
Well, hey, then there's the reason.
Yeah. Pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization.
PAID.
There you go.
Paid.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know halt.
That's not in
That's
the book.
not in the book.
Hangry, yeah,
It's
but
also
that's
it's
also smart
a
recovery.
Very flimsy
Hey,
strategy against
Hungry,
relapse for an
angry,
alcoholic.
lonely, tired. No, it's not actually.
Actually,
Feel,
no,
feel,
no,
feel,
let's
feel,
dig
feel,
into
Okay,
this.
hold on. Halt.
Please,
okay, so
let's dig into
hungry,
this.
angry, lonely, tired.
Kelly, I'm dying to talk about this.
Let's hear it.
Let's
Because
do it.
people are dying as a result of that
Okay.
strategy, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
so
I'm,
the
go
big
ahead.
book was written 90 years ago, right?
39, yes.
Almost 100 people had recovered from alcoholism before they wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got to agree on the first 164 pages and the responses to the opinions of the doctor through his letters before it got published in a book, right? So they all agreed in the first 51 pages that this about sums up what we think this illness is, along with the doctor's description of it, right? So in the midst of all that, the idea that we drink or use to escape, they already they wipe their hands of that. We don't use and drink to escape. In More About Alcoholism, it describes 4 mental states that precede a relapse.
Okay.
One of them is justified by worry and remorse.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't
being-
wait till you guys
being
got to meet each other.
I
tensioned
love
up,
this.
right? And then back in the doctor's opinion, he wrote a letter, the doctor. He was like the medical director of the hospital for people like us. And then we responded to it with some paragraphs. And in one of the paragraphs, it says, it did not satisfy us to be told we were in full flight from reality, that we were outright mental defectives. Even though it was true for most of us, it didn't quite fill the gap of like, well, why do I use? Because I'm so unhappy? Like, no, dude, my family drinks when they're unhappy and they're stressed out and somebody dies. That's a normal person's relationship with
Why do
drugs and alcohol.
men and women drink?
Because they like the effect produced.
That's it.
And so I'll use and drink when I'm happy. I don't have to be fucked up about anything. I don't
Yeah.
have to be trying to escape my reality. I can be having a job and the right girlfriend and
Yeah,
all the
no,
things.
you drink to celebrate and you
And
drink
so hungry,
to
angry,
Yeah.
lonely, tired, I
Yeah.
don't need that to relapse.
Right. Well, I'm just saying those can be triggers. That's all I'm saying is that, okay, if you're no
Fire
seriously.
his ass up.
No, hold on. If you're
What's a trigger?
No, okay, so a trigger to me is something that makes you think about drinking.
Where's the idea of trigger from?
What do you mean?
Like what literature, what pathway is that out of? Like what people are combating triggers?
I mean, triggers are just a common phrase used for things that cause you to want to drink or want to use.
In my circle, includes people with years of not only abstinence, but like purposeness and fulfillment and actual like recovery and healing. We don't use that language. Maybe in a sense of like PTSD or like some real emotional thing. Like that's very real and I can be triggered.
Right.
But being placed in a position of neutrality and actually recovering from this illness means that I don't have to. When temptation comes, I recoil as if from a hot flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do anything to do that. I don't have
Right.
to make sure and eat a cheeseburger
Right.
because I'm
and
hungry
I'm
or-
not saying just because I said the acronym HALT that's my credo,
Dude,
or anything
it's
like
all
that.
good.
But
You've got 1,000 subscribers, and I'll bet your ass half of them is like, halt, that's important. I need to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
And
it's an
like,
easy-
Dude, your best friend's going to die if you stay sober long enough.
Yeah.
I
You-
think
and you don't have to get high.
the good thing about halt is right. Whenever you feel like shit, that's a good way to judge a reason you might be feeling like shit. Right? It's like, oh shit, hold on, let me slow down. Am I hungry, angry, lonely,
Yeah.
tired, whatever it is?
And that's all it is to
Yeah,
me.
instead of necessarily something, because dude, this is exactly what I wanted having him on here too. Is like this is a conversation about things that people need to know, right, about this disease, because this is where the fucking shit hits the fan, bro.
Right. And it's just like like the whole RID one, the restless, irritable, and discontent, which is probably I think in the
Yeah,
literature.
that is where
that
it
is
came
in
from,
the that's in the literature. But I mean that's also a good little quick acronym.
Yeah.
That you can. I think when you see yourself getting worked up and you actually can realize that and go, oh shit, I got this going on. I need to chill out, and that's why I'm feeling, this certain way.
Self-awareness.
Because I'm experiencing those certain types of emotions.
Self-awareness leads to self-reflection, leads to the best version of ourselves, right? So that's
Say it
what
again slow.
Where'd you read that?
Huh?
Where's your script over there?
I don't
Say
know.
it again.
Let's hear it, Book.
Self-awareness leads to self-reflection, which leads to the best version of ourselves, right? Because like nobody can be. I mean, you can think that you're fucking perfect, dude, but I guarantee you, somebody out there can poke some holes in your theory. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're stagnant and you do not want to get any better, you know what I'm saying? That's on you, because there is ways to do it, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're talking about ways to just fucking get better as human beings, right? Because I don't know about you, but I was pretty shitty for a long fucking time. I still am in a lot of regards. It is progress, not perfection. Once again, another one of the literature terms, right? And you can keep moving that if you want, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't think that we can be stagnant.
Right.
If we're not
No.
moving forward, we're moving backwards.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I always felt like I'll just stay the way I am, but it always got
Well,
worse.
or you can also, like you were saying, like with weed or alcohol, you can just stay stalled too.
Yeah,
You can just hover.
Yeah, I think halt can be.
That's why they
helpful.
That's why they say you're high, dude.
I'm perma-stoned, man.
Yeah,
I
right.
still have people ask me that all the time.
Right.
Just in normal life. Like,
Right.
dude, are you high? And no, I'm not. I'm high on life though.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, real quick, we got to pay some bills. Max the Axe is a great personal injury lawyer. That is thispinklawyer.com. And it will take you to the website of Lone Star Injury Attorneys and hit him up. He practices in Texas and California and will get you maximum results. And then our lovely other sponsor, Joe Lindsay at Stepping Stone Sober Living. His number is 920-454-0569. And Chadwick with on the ready to read the AI commercial, the AI written commercial.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me. I'm just gonna read it. No.
Read it however you want.
Yeah.
However the spirit moves you, Chad.
Are you or someone you know struggling with addiction and looking for a safe and supportive environment to begin the road to recovery? Stepping Stone Sober Living is the place to go. We know firsthand that the journey to sobriety can seem impossible, but you never have to do it alone. Our community provides the support and encouragement you need to stay on track and achieve your recovery goals. We offer clean, comfortable accommodations that will help you feel right at home. Plus, our location is conveniently close to historic downtown McKinney and several vibrant recovery groups, so you can easily access the support and resources you need to succeed. Recovery is a journey, not a destination. If you're serious about your recovery, then we want to help. I did that entire fucking thing without
Incredible.
laughing, dude.
You did it, dude.
Incredible.
You made
Yeah.
it, dude. That was excellent.
That's what's
that is Joe Lindsay, and that is 920-454-0569. Hit him up. He's got 2 locations out there in McKinney and doing good things. Running a tight ship.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, we also have our new EP that came out July 28th.
Yeah.
So, and it is called the Chapter 1 EP.
Wait,
and
did
it
you
is,
say speaking of that after you said tight ship?
I did.
Speaking of tight
Tight
ships,
Yeah,
got
yeah,
our
no,
EP, dude.
No.
Elf
Speaking
penis.
of tight,
That's what
speaking
EP
of-
stands for. We
no,
we
tight
found that out last
ship.
episode.
Like we run a tight ship,
I
making
got you.
music,
Okay.
making
Yeah,
beats.
yeah. I see
That's
it.
where
I didn't
it's
see it.
this
Now I see
tight
it.
ship. Yeah.
I get it.
Okay.
tight ship.
Right.
There we go.
All
That
right.
is a new song. It is
Yeah.
called Kill Our Rhythm, and it is out on the Mixer Records.
Yeah.
And it is the third song to our debut Chapter 1 Elf Penis. Chapter 1 EP.
Yeah. And it is available on Spotify, Beatport, all that kind of stuff, Apple Music. It's out there everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Right, brother?
Hey, brother.
Hey,
brother.
brother.
I just
Hey,
want to let
man.
you know, man. That
Hey.
new song, man, it's
Right,
pretty good.
brother.
Man. You know,
Right,
I like
brother.
it, man. I
Right.
like it, brother.
Right, brother.
Shut up, dude.
Hey, you're welcome.
Anyways.
All right. Anyway, back to your story. We were talking about how harmless substances can actually be, I guess harmful, but I was going to say, debilitating, so to speak. I was
Yeah.
going to go there.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Well, I think if somebody has the disease of alcoholism or drug addiction, that is a disease that is trying to kill them.
Right.
And so my story is one filled with depression, and it led me down a dark path to
Right.
where I became suicidal. And that's one way that the disease will kill us. I've lost friends to drug overdoses. I've lost friends to cirrhosis of the liver. Car accidents. It can happen in many, many ways. And I'm thankful for the depression looking back today.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about recovery is I can look back on those times that God was knocking,
Right.
the times that I hated,
Right.
that I would have done anything to change. And now
I used to resent that a little bit when people would say, grateful alcoholic. And I go, fuck you, man. No, you're not.
Till you
And
figure out.
But then I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see the gratitude of experiencing the shit show because, it's the whole yin-yang Buddhist philosophy. If there was no evil, there would be no good. So, to know your own personal bottom usually takes a mirror for Chad. Sorry.
Hey, I felt the same way. The first time I heard somebody say they were a grateful alcoholic, I thought they were insane.
Right.
Surely he wasn't talking about being grateful to be alcoholic. Maybe he meant that he was grateful that he got his car back and he didn't have a probation officer anymore. Like something grateful for the gifts of sobriety.
Right.
But now for me, I identify as a grateful alcoholic, and it's because I'm grateful for the gift of sobriety.
Right.
Had I not walked through those steps and had the spiritual awakening that is promised
Well, the
to
gift
be
of
the
desperation
result,
is what they say sometimes, right?
Yeah,
gift
he
of-
already said that.
All
well,
right.
yeah, the
Okay.
gift of desperation
Yeah,
is
sorry.
essential. But for me, had I not discovered the spiritual awakening that comes as the result of working the steps, I would either be dead or continuing to sleepwalk through my life, taking advantage and hurting those that love me most. Today, I have an opportunity to be the guy that I always wanted to be. And it's just one day at a time, one moment at a time, one action at a time.
Cool.
And that's
Love
what. That's one of the things that really drew me to meet Chance whenever I saw him, because it was a whole room of people, and this is what keeps me going to recovery stuff, dude. Is I've witnessed more people in my life take the worst thing that ever happened to them and become grateful for it and teach other people how to do the same thing. And that starts, and for me, it was a lot of AA and stuff like that. But I mean, there's rooms and there's people doing this all over the place in all sorts of different pathways where they can't teach you how to do it, but they can provide you with resources that can help you learn how to turn your worst moments into your biggest triumphs. And then you
Dude,
can
I
go
thought you
around
were
and
going to
help
drop
people.
into the Morgan Freeman voice. There for
Oh,
a
I should
second.
have. That would have been good.
That would have actually killed.
Yeah, that would have killed. But that's what's so important about this stuff. And I could just see it like on the look on his fucking face, man. Yeah, he looks high most of the time. Like, look at him right now. He looks fucking stoned. I just switched the camera to you for that. That looks
Right.
perfect. But yeah, it's it's a group of people that get together. And it could be any type of meeting. It could be any type of event, whatever. And it is so powerful, and it's like a spiritual experience when you're open to it. You know what I mean? When you hear somebody say something that you were just thinking, or say something that you identify
Hey,
with.
man, that guy's telling my story.
Yeah, and there's some fucking powerful shit
Right.
in that, dude. And that's what I love so much about.
Well, and I
about
think
these
that's
kind
where
of
I think
things.
that's a big part of where community aspect of it comes in because everybody at this table can relate to the desperation, and we've all been there before at some level, whatever
Yeah.
that level is for us.
Well, I'm kind of curious. How did you get to your first meeting? What was the chaotic thing, and then what was it? What was that first meeting like? Why did you go to a second?
It's actually a funny story. My grandmother was one of my very closest friends, and I didn't realize she was an alcoholic till I was about 15 years old. And it was like this well-kept family secret.
Right.
Like, grandma likes to drink. She was a binge drinker. And I'd been around her my whole life. I mean, she was a babysitter for me. I really loved and cherished our relationship. And then we started drinking together at 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Hard drinking together, man. And she was a lot of fun for the first 2 drinks.
Right.
And then
Oh, and then
she'd
it
get
got-
really
yeah.
sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Really sad. And she would always tell me these almost like fairy tale stories about AA. She had gone in the 70s. And she didn't work the steps. She didn't have a sponsor, but she stayed sober for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so she always knew there was this place. And I was about 20 or 21, and I really wanted to help her out. So I was like, let's go to a meeting. And I went there to get her her in there,
Right.
maybe grandma will stop drinking, maybe
Right.
she'll be happy.
Yeah.
And I started listening, and I was like,
Wait, I'm identifying.
This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird. And it took me a few more years to really dive in, but that was my first meeting ever,
Right.
was taking someone else.
Well, I mean, but it was out of a selfless act. I think that was nice that you were trying to help out your grandmother, and then you got rewarded with your sobriety out of it.
And that's funny because that's what we do is like fucking alcoholics and drug addicts. We like, dude, I can solve your problems today.
Yeah.
But me, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't need help. You know what I mean? I got this, but let me work on you. You know what I'm saying? And then that's funny because that goes back to like the God thing, dude. That's just how that fucking works. Like I couldn't have constructed any of this like grand design of the way things happen, how they're supposed to, exactly when they do.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, because I know that's a huge part of your recovery is the spirituality aspect of it. So definitely do not shy away from that aspect.
Well, like I said, if we all at the core of it have a spiritual problem, whether it's substance abuse or any other issue going on in our life, then there's a spiritual answer, a spiritual solution. So I never really thought that I had a problem with drugs and alcohol. I didn't. But for whatever reason, I thought if I could stop doing them, everything would get better, and that wasn't the case. Things didn't get better as a result of just stopping the drugs and the alcohol. And I look back now and I see that what they were was my solution. When things were going wrong or when things were going good, it was always my solution to just get loaded. And there was a solution that was killing me because I came in and I was dead emotionally, I was dead spiritually, and I wanted to be dead physically. And what the program gave me, among so many other things, was a new solution.
Right.
And that is God.
Right. Okay.
So we talked about this the other day. What are some of the stuff that you do personally now to enhance that spiritual fitness in your life?
Yeah.
The number one way that I can get a spiritual high is to go help other people, to go speak, to go volunteer, to work with someone else. Even what we're doing here today, talking about recovery. This right here is going to save lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And among other things, I would include prayer and meditation, in my opinion.
Do you do like a morning meditation, or how does it work
I
for
wish
you?
I did, man.
Yeah, I know. How does it work for you? Just whenever you have a chance, or
Whenever
or
I
what?
have
Whenever you have a chancellor.
Hey, where's the
one
rim?
got me,
Where's
dude.
the rim shot, dude?
Oh, man. That one got me.
Whenever I have time, I'm a big advocate for Wim Hof.
Okay.
If y'all are familiar with the breathing
I
technique.
am not.
I don't
so
do
please,
that shit, but I
let's
know
hear
what
it.
is.
So Wim,
Iceman.
The Iceman.
Okay.
Yeah. He developed a breathing technique. He had lost his wife to suicide, and he had about 5 kids that he had to take care of, and he was just severely depressed over in Europe. And he's big on cold therapy.
Oh, I think I have seen something like on KERA or Channel 13's like public
Joe
access.
Rogan Podcast,
No,
check it out. Train all day, fight all night, or whatever he says, dude.
public access or something.
cable right now?
No, dude, he doesn't
Huh?
watch cable. He doesn't even have cable.
Man, I got Spectrum, man. Woo.
Explain, please,
Yeah.
Chance.
Wim's a beast, man. So basically, I think he's like held his breath underwater near an iceberg, freezing cold water for like 7 minutes.
Right.
And this breathing technique is really simple. You take a deep breath in, then you let it out quickly, and you do that for about 40 reps, and then you hold your breath.
Okay.
When I first started, I could do it for 60 seconds if I was lucky. And there's been times now where I've been able to hold my breath for like 3.5 minutes. And that state of meditation is intense. It's almost
Right.
euphoric.
Okay.
And that's just something that I do that I enjoy
And so you just achieve that state of meditation through the breathing?
through the breathing.
Okay. Nothing, no mental concentration, only solely on your breathing?
It's all breath work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But anything that I do, I can be in a state of prayer as well. Like I like to do yoga. I like to do
Right.
Pilates.
Well, I mean, I kind of think I do that all day, every day. When the voice in my head, I don't know who that is.
Conscious
Yeah,
contact,
right,
man.
right.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
That's and that's like, so this whole, the whole idea of this, right? This, you telling your story and all that stuff. It's like we always tell people there's secret sauce or whatever, right? And like, I know for you, there's a lot of that stuff. And yeah, like you didn't necessarily want to talk about the rooms or whatever, but like, what would you just say to somebody who might be watching this show right now and be like, man, dude, those 2 dudes over there look fucking sharp. Those other 2 dudes are fucking idiots. You know what I mean? But they might be on the fence about, going and checking out a meeting, or they might have found like the wrong one, or they might have whatever. What would your advice be to somebody out there that's struggling?
Yeah, my advice would be that you're not alone. I know what it feels like to think that I was alone You know, he mentioned restless, irritable, and discontent. That's what the book says that we're going to feel until we take a few drinks. And that's what I was getting at with my solution, was always to change the way that I felt, to alter my mind. And I would add another word. It was misunderstood. I never felt understood, and I didn't feel like if I were to open up to people that they could relate or that they knew where I was coming from. And so I just want people to know that you're not alone, and there are people that understand you. If you've been burned by a bad experience in therapy or a bad experience in the rooms or any of those things, the church, anything, it's not a reason to stop going.
Yeah.
I believe that there's a spiritual war going on, and that there's an enemy that is here to kill, steal, and destroy. And his intention is to keep us isolated, to keep us alone. And so I want to put my number on here. If anybody's listening to this and they want to reach out, I'm always available.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My number is 214-799-3471. And Chad can put that in the
I'll put it in the description when I post it. Yeah, for sure.
awesome. Yeah, just you are worth it.
Right.
Whoever's out there listening, no matter what's going on in your life, if you are, struggling at all, there is a solution.
Yeah. Cool.
That's awesome, man.
Well, I think that's a good spot to end on, man. I mean, that's a powerful message. So I appreciate you sharing that and sharing your experience.
Yeah,
So-
dude. And that's why, like, I was super happy to have you on because, another thing, just real quick, because you mentioned therapy, right? Because they don't talk about that in those rooms enough. They're like, oh, yeah, sure, AA has the potential to get me sober and keep me sober forever or whatever. But I guarantee when my mind starts playing tricks on me like it used to, if I have a co-occurring disorder or whatever the fuck they want to word it as now, dual diagnosis, whatever that shit means, AA worked to get me sober and keep me sober long enough to learn how to stay sober. And then my mind's going to start rapid firing. And then what do I do when my mind starts rapid firing and all that trauma or all that abuse, whatever the fuck it looks like for you in the past? What do I do? Right? And we go to therapy. We do, like, and that's what I like about Brazos, dude, is like they do all that stuff. I saw them do trauma work with somebody else. I see like some stuff happening, and that is fucking vital. So you do therapy, right?
Yeah, I'm an advocate in investing in ourselves in every avenue that we can. Not putting all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And just trying to become the best person that we can be. And
Right.
for
Well,
me,
and like I've heard the analogy, tools in your toolbox. So
Yeah.
It's something like that.
That's just one more tool, man. Like, and it's just all it is trying to better me.
Right.
You know, and that's like selfishly, like that's what we have to do in recovery, right? Because we got to better ourselves.
Yeah, you're
because
not-
I can't fill anybody else's fucking cup if my shit's empty,
Right.
and my shit was dry, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You want me to quote the book some more?
Huh?
You want me to quote the
Go
book
ahead.
some more?
Do it.
Yeah.
Drop
Okay,
it.
so in Bill's story, right?
Uh-huh.
He's talking about he gets sober. He's got 6 months put together. He's going up to the hospital every day, right? He's just talked with Ebby, his friend, and he's decided that he needs to undergo this process through which he is violently confronted with the presence of this power, right? God. And so he runs up to this hospital and he tries to help other people for 6 months, and not one person persists with what he's encouraging them to try. And he goes to his wife and he's like, what the hell? And she's like, hey, don't worry about it. You're 6 months sober for the first time in 20 years. So just keep doing it. And so he goes up to the hospital and he talks to the doctor. He's like, doctor, what am I doing wrong? Like, I got this like that. Like, what am I not doing right? And he said, actually, Ebby came to you while you were drinking, told you all this stuff about Jesus and God, and you said, okay, whatever. And you stayed drunk for 2 more weeks before you came to the hospital. And because you had an alternative option than the medication and stuff we were going to do, I let you know just how hopeless I think that you are. And I let you know that a small population of the thousands of people that I've treated, I don't think will ever stay sober and will never get better. But we'll keep treating them here because we have to. And you're one of those, that small population. And as a result of you being convinced of just how hopeless you were, then you became interested in what your friend had to say. Right? What did you say that made me say that? Oh, you can't give out of an empty well. So Bill was kept well, even though for 6 months he was unemployed. He was plagued, his words, by self-pity and resentment that nearly drove him back to drink. My experience as well is even when I'm not consistently praying and meditating, even when I haven't worked a 10-step, even when I have resentment and fear overwhelming my life, like I can still be an effective sponsor. I was sponsored by a man who was drunk on the weekends for 4 years, and he saved my life. He taught me how to become married. He taught me a lot about being a dad, and he was drunk on the weekends, just lying. You know what I mean? Like, I think that while we're unwell, we can actually help people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
That's cool. So, and that goes to like whether you have 5 minutes or fucking 50 years, dude. Like you never know what 2 words you're gonna say are gonna be the words that change somebody else's life.
And it's like you and Tony were talking last week. My life up to this point has been only about me, and the only way for me to have any sort of spiritual reward, my life can't belong to me anymore. I can't be obsessed with myself anymore.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it,
Beautiful.
dude. Well, cool, man. Chadwick, as always, thank you. Josh W. Jordan, we will have to make this more frequent.
Come on.
Because, hey, come on with it. Come on. Because, I mean, God, it's been like 6 months or so since you've been out. So, anyway, you're always welcome. Always insightful. But real quick, let's give, you work at Brazos and Cardinal House, right?
Yeah.
So, real quick, plug those.
Yeah, Brazos is for like the front end kind of guys. It's the full continuum of care. You take insurance, all male. And then Cardinal House is a sober living. So for guys coming out of treatment, out of jail, whatever.
Right.
Trying to get back into the swing of life.
Cool. And they can look both of those up.
Both have websites.
Both of those up on the interwebs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chancellor, I appreciate you coming in. Now I am calling him Chancellor.
Yeah, because
I
it's
guess that's
badass,
his real
dude.
name, right?
It is.
It
It
is.
is tight.
What is the full name, Chancellor?
Chancellor Alexander.
Okay, but are you like the third? That
No.
would be hot. You should just add a third to
That
it.
would be next
Yeah,
level.
dude. Yeah,
Hell
right?
Just got to have a kid and have a grandkid.
There you go. Well, hey, man.
He would have the
You've got
coolest
time.
name we've ever
You've got
heard.
time now, dude. You can have the second and the third.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
You want
Well,
to shout out anybody, Chance, before
Yeah.
Kelly just...
I do want to say that I know
Yeah.
Joe Lindsay over at Stepping Stones. Been
Okay.
to those houses. It's a phenomenal opportunity if anybody's looking for sober living in that area. And I've listened to y'all's music, and it is fire.
Yeah.
It's
Every time we
tight,
go over and play
fool.
spades at his house or whatever, he always has me put it on.
Cool.
So-
Well, thank you for advocating for us. I appreciate
Appreciate it,
that.
Chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here, air horn.
Shout out.
Shout out us. Hell yeah. Dude.
Yeah. And then next week, actually, we should have. I have a friend, Buddha Betty, and I caught her on an NDE show, but she's actually in recovery, and she's all about the positive manifestation. So I'm excited to have her on the show. That's going to be good. But other than that, thanks, guys. And then remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.